Hi, good afternoon, startup Launchpad. My name is Eddie, and I'm in charge of business innovation at WearWare. We're basically a group that's looking at wearable technologies in the mass world of Li and Fung sourcing. So this talk is labeled Internet of Stupid Things, and generally, we in our industry we know IoT, we know Internet of Things, but in consumer language, we call it smart things. And when we look at the first generation of smart things, are they really smart? And that's why I guess I titled this presentation The Internet of Stupid Things, to kind of challenge that. So just a quick story about Li and Fung. Li and Fung is basically the first Chinese sourcing company in the world. 110 years ago, we brought jade, porcelain, and fireworks to the Western world. So anything you think of like made in China, that is Li and Fung at a very mass scale. Fast forward today, we ship 4.5 billion things around the world. You see those cargo ships outside when you take the Airport Express into Hong Kong. You see these gigantic boats, lots of product. We have 4,000 customers, brands, retailers all over the world. We move stuff from all the clothes that you wear to the furniture you're sitting to the makeup and moisturizers you put on your face this morning. This is all Li and Fung, gigantic scale. And so why are we looking at wearable technology, right? So in the future, we kind of imagine a world where technology and non-technology is kind of merged into one. You'll see a lot of these suppliers, they kind of live in this world, tech manufacturing. What they worry about is power, processing power, battery size. They don't think about comfort, they don't think about material, textures. But this is kind of the world that we live in. We live in the world of dumb products where comfort matters, size matters, and we talk a different language. And so in the future, we're gonna have to figure out how these supply chains merge. What is the new vocabulary that we use to manufacture these products? And how is this kind of convention gonna transform? Because what you get at Macy's is different than what you get at Best Buy. And eventually, we gotta figure out where these smart products go. So, this is the story of an $800 breakfast. First, we have this thing called the egg minder, right? So you wake up, you want to have eggs for breakfast. This thing basically uses your phone, syncs it, and counts the number of eggs you have in your fridge. So instead of opening the door, you check your phone to say, oh, I still have 6 eggs left. And of course, there is a consumer value proposition, right? You think, oh, how many times have I been at the market where I wondered, do I still have eggs? Do I need to buy it? But realistically, it's probably cheaper for you to just buy the eggs and just bring them home and just throw away whatever you have left. I mean, the idea of buying a carton of eggs, manually placing them into this smart container and labeling what the expiration date is on the app is really overkill. And you see kind of these devices everywhere. A lot of these Internet of Things devices, they're not smarter. They don't make our lives any better. And so I guess the idea is really to think about what are the value proposition you're making. After you fry up your eggs, you're going to make some toast. This was the star of the show at CES last year. This is the Griffin Smart Toaster. It's $100 US. Basically, you have a button on your phone that basically toasts the bread, and it'll tell you when it's ready. You can customize settings, how much you want your bread to be toasted. But realistically, we know kind of how a toaster works. And sure, sometimes 2 is a little bit too light and 3 is a bit burnt. But I mean, is this really a problem you need to solve with IoT? And there's situations where like, oh, I just want to wake up to toast, and so the idea is you'd have to leave bread in the toaster overnight and it'd be stale. So again, questionable value proposition, but star of the show at CES. Moving forward, you got your toast, you got your eggs, and of course you want to count your calories. We're all about health mindedness. We have all these fitness trackers. This is the Happy Fork. It's a $100 fork that basically tells you when you're eating too much. Now, basically, you're eating your eggs, and it'll tell you, stop, hey, you're full, or you shouldn't eat this many calories. And so again, the Internet of Things kind of helping are changing the way we eat breakfast. This thing actually vibrates in your mouth when you're supposed to be full, in case your stomach doesn't tell you that you're full. People have complained about like damaging their teeth and all this sort of stuff. It's kind of silly. So, normally you would use your phone to take selfies of your breakfast being made. This is tracking your calories while you eat. Finally, you have the smart trash can. This is over $500. So after you have to dump basically the eggs and toast that you wasted because you were told not to eat anymore, you throw it in this guy. And this guy will actually tell you how much of the carbon dioxide you're saving by recycling. And it's connected to your phone to tell you what's the temperature of the trash inside, and as well as has like aromatherapy in it in case you left your trash way too long in these trash cans. So again, $800 to basically smarten your daily breakfast routine. Completely ridiculous. Last month, actually, this was big on the news. It's called Smalt. Have any of you heard of this?
The world's first interactive centerpiece that enhance your dining experience. Smalt has a sleek and portable design. Features a built-in mood light to set the ambience, a Bluetooth speaker that delivers a crisp and powerful sound, and it's a smart salt dispenser. Shake, pinch, or pour, all using your smartphone. Smalt comes with Amazon Alexa integration for the times you need an extra hand. Simply say, "Alexa, dispense half a teaspoon of salt." You can also track and monitor your sodium with the Smalt app. Smalt's easily portable design makes it an on-the-go centerpiece no matter where you dine. Pair your phone with Smalt to stream your favorite music and let the entertainment begin. Let Smalt be the conversation piece of your dinner party. Open your Smalt app and simply pinch the screen or shake your phone to dispense salt. After all, Smalt is a smart salt dispenser. Set the perfect ambience with Smalt's color-changing mood light. Engage all your senses with Smalt, the world's first interactive centerpiece. Support Smalt today and help us bring the world's first interactive centerpiece and smart salt dispenser to your dining table. Let's make everyday dining fun.
So what do you guys think? I mean, it seemed like a joke when I first watched it, right? And these guys are very serious. Even today, after how many years of smart products, products like this are still coming out, way over-engineered. And it's like, just because you have technology doesn't mean you have to use it, right? You have to think about the consumer use cases. And so that's kind of why our group, WearWare, actually exists within Li & Fung. I mean, it's very easy to make a chair. We know it's for sitting on. But when you're designing new products with technology, it takes a different set of skill sets. So our team is a very diverse set of engineers, basically innovators, tech people, user designers, and we basically try to create very meaningful smart products on scale. So a lot of tech startups or a lot of product startups today, they start kind of, what's feasible? What can we do with technology? We have a new wireless charger, so then I'm going to try to add a wireless charger to every product that exists out there. Or I have Wi-Fi, I'm going to connect it to that toaster so I can remotely control my toast. And so that's a problem because you end up creating a lot of products that become the Internet of Stupid Things. And we really don't need more junk than there already is, to be honest. Li & Fung tends to, make a lot of products that already exist that have been very validated, right? So if you look at all these companies who are doing batteries, well, batteries have been kind of like refined to a certain point where we can make it en masse. So therefore, you have hundreds of suppliers making batteries, and that's where Li & Fung as a business goes for scale, right? This makes a lot of sense for mass retail around the world. But our group really starts to look at human desirability. What do people actually need in their lives, right? It's not, I'm going to add technology for technology's sake. What are the current problems that exist with products, right? What are the current problems, let's say, with a toaster? Or are there even problems? Do we need to improve things that are already kind of good enough? And this is kind of just a high level of the process that we take through product development. So we kind of find collaborators. So if you have, let's say, a technology that you want to work on with us, we'll partner with you if there's interest from our business groups as well as you, as your startups. And we'll do a research phase. And so that might range from just Googling to find out what's out there to actually holding focus groups or actually going to on-site interviewing people. And then we'll generate brainstorms. We'll share our learnings. We'll create these group brainstorms from diverse audiences and prototype and validate over and over and over. But ultimately, we're trying to get to products that are scalable, but also smart. And we're not trying to create products that are do-everything products. We just want to have really simple use cases that make sense, that can be bettered by technology. So here's kind of a example of a case we did on the slopes. Do any of you snowboard or ski? Cool, 1, 2, a couple of you? 3. So yeah, we did a project with an outerwear company. So, the equation for wearable technology tends to be just take something dumb, like a jacket, something that you get at Macy's department store or a sporting goods store, and you add something smart to it. There's an icon missing here, which I think was data analytics or something. So, people like to take data, they like to take music, Bluetooth, communications, and they add it to a product. And then you create something like the astronaut jacket of the future that has all these features. It can play a song, watch videos, all this sort of stuff, right? And this is the equation that you see a lot in a lot of the startups. And I want you guys to kind of avoid that. Think really deeply. What are the reasons people wear their jacket and where it needs to be improved, rather than let's just add stuff that's unnecessarily there. So this was research done 2 years ago, so it's a little bit outdated. But when we looked online, kind of said what are the products out there on the slopes for technology in the technology space. So we saw a lot of with the popularity of Google Glasses back then, a lot of goggles were starting to add live tracking on their goggles. You could see how fast you were going, how long your laps were, or not laps, but runs. And it wasn't very popular. It wasn't selling very well. People were transitioning to these little pucks that you add onto your snowboard or skis, so that because we found out later, people actually just want to brag and share about their journey. They weren't really tracking sport metrics. They didn't really need to know live data. They wanted to enjoy their time and then kind of show off the maps and trails they went, because social media was more important than live metrics at the time. And playing music, we saw before a lot of jackets were basically carrying music players. But now we're seeing a lot of integration, right? So this is naturally the wearable technology. Like the helmets have headphones built in, for example. And then, back then, a lot of people were wearing GoPros on the slopes. But nowadays, drones are the big thing. And so you want to be the star of your own show rather than just show people what you're doing. So we kind of saw these kind of trends in electronics when we did our initial research on the slopes. But then when we really got down to it, we actually decided to go to the slopes. Our team actually went to Niseko for 4 days. We talked to 35 people representing a very diverse set of people, 11 different countries, ranging from Singaporeans who have actually never snowboarded in their life, renting their outdoor gear. And of course, we asked them, what do they look for in gear? They had no clue. To someone who was a 5-time avalanche survivor. And this guy actually reports the weather conditions every day and got his extreme use cases. And then we have, of course, a lot of people in the middle. So we kind of learn what's actually important to people. Was music on the slopes that important? Was how fast I was going, knowing that speed at that time, was that important to people? So anyway, here's a video of our research. If you can, tech guy, can you help me click the video again?
I mean, obviously the best days on the mountain are when it's super deep powder, because that's when you're really inside of the texture and inside of the snow. But to be honest with you, any day on the mountain is a great day. The gear is of the utmost importance, because if your student is prepared and they're protected from the weather, then they're always going to be more comfortable.
Jacket and pants are definitely a fashion-conscious choice.
I think you've got to get a bit of both though. Like, I want to look cool, but I don't want to be freezing my butt off as well. Like,
that's true.
I think durability is a key function of any product, and I think what I do personally and professionally is use equipment very, very hard, and you find out very quickly what the quality is over half a season of skiing. It's very apparent what's going to fall apart and what's not.
Cell phone. That's it.
You know what? I try to leave my phone at home when I'm on the mountain, because I don't want any distractions when I'm out there.
Do you ever listen to music when you ride?
No. I talk to nature.
The appeal is fresh powder, yeah, untouched lines, also no one out there. It's a beautiful way to enjoy the mountains.
Just say thank you for allowing me to have this experience again every single day. It's an amazing lifestyle, and yeah, I'm very appreciative for having the opportunity.
message when we're in the park because there's no Wi-Fi up here.
Yeah,
And we're all ski
we
bums.
can't afford it.
So no one really has phones or anything, or like even if you get lost on the hill, like you're never going to find someone because your phone doesn't work.
I would use my phone to, text my friends I'm going down, see at the restaurant, but I think that's about it that I use, yeah.
It's just really fun, like it's something a little bit different. Whenever there's sort of down days or the weather's a bit lame, it's cool to come hang out in the park. It gives you something to work on and practice, and you get to know everyone. Like people riding through now, you have a bit of a laugh on the chair, for like watching people fall over.
I definitely enjoy the social component. I ski with a lot of my best friends all over the world, and I also really enjoy the solitude of being outside, and being in the backcountry away from other people was really, really nice.
Years ago, you couldn't even imagine talking with your friend on the mountain on the phone. That wasn't even possible. Technologies is not changing the sport itself, but kind of enhancing all the experiences that you can have on the mountain.
Okay, so that was kind of the research we did in 3 days, and we took it to a customer basically to say, this is kind of what products we should do. It's input for a brainstorm, and you can imagine after seeing that, doing that amount of research, the way you think it's very different. You're not focusing on the products that are already made. You're not trying to build a bigger, faster engine. You're not trying to make something that measures speed better, because that's not what people cared about when you talk to them. So sharing these type of insights is great. And then you learn, there's the obvious technology constraints, right? Like people, where they store their phones, right? So then you think about, well, if I'm gonna have technology, where should it go? A lot of people wear gloves, and even though some of them are touchscreen compatible, they're never really they're not waterproof, they're not water compatible. A lot of people hold their phones just for emergencies. They're traveling. The connectivity is not very strong anyway, so you can't rely on, let's say, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or 4G even. And I don't know if you guys ever use electronics on the slopes. Coldness actually destroys batteries very fast. Your phone dies. So we learned that a lot of people, they try to keep it up in their chest. And again, these learnings not only are for smart products, but just for designing outerwear jackets in general, right? And these are all improvements that we took to our client, and they've improved their products based on it. How many of you use the GoPro? One-button controls are really hard to use. So for example, this guy's wearing a GoPro. He doesn't know if he's recording or if he's stopping, and it's the same exact button, right? So if you're designing products for that, you probably shouldn't design a button that does both actions, because sometimes you have to take it off to check, is it recording before you put it back on. Again, these are the simple things that can make the user experience way better. So what we really learned, when we talked to all these people, they weren't really concerned with sport metrics. The people on the slopes are not really competing. They're not Olympians and whatnot. And even if they were, they're not going to be using consumer electronics to do so. So we found that people actually cared about these three categories more than these, right? So they're more about leisure metrics. It's how comfortable can I be? How do I communicate with friends? How do I navigate the slopes? Versus what everything has been focused on, at least in the wearable technology space for snowboarding and skiing, is speed, distance, and time. And eventually people just kind of get sick of it. So with that, we kind of identified opportunities around the 3 areas we decided, and this kind of went into the brainstorm, and we were able to generate really good ideas really fast by sharing all these learnings. So if you're going to create snowboard skiing, try to focus on these kind of areas, you'll kind of have a more successful product for sure. And so here's some concepts, for example. Let's say you're skiing and you have two friends on the slopes, but you don't know where they are. Are they ahead of you, behind you, right? So you basically, let's say you rub a part of your pants right here, and a little speaker will say, oh, my friend John is 50 meters ahead of you, and 200 meters behind you is Steven, let's say, right? This is much more to the scenario versus trying to look at a screen or a map at the time when you're snowboarding, right? So you got to think about the use case of that. For comfort, a lot of people say staying dry, staying warm was a big deal, right? So if you're a newbie, how do you be comfortable? So we took the interaction element of someone shivering when they're cold and activating. You've seen all these heat jackets now that basically warm up when you turn it on. Well, using that as a trigger to basically warm your body temperature on the slopes. So these are some examples. There were literally hundreds and hundreds of ideas, and I'm sure you guys can run your own brainstorm based on these learnings to create awesome new products. Thank you. So again, my name's Eddie. Here's my email if you want to contact me, and our Instagram account. Please notify me if you want to collaborate on anything. And if you have any questions, let me know.